In this video, let's take a look at solving some two-step equations together. Now, in each of these examples, we're basically going to be having two different operations. Each time we're going to be taking care of the addition and subtraction operations first by using their inverse operations, and then we're going to be going ahead and taking care of the inverse of the multiplication or division operation. So let's get right into it. In number one, we have this equation of 3x plus 7 is equal to 31. So here we have the equation just rewritten here. So let's go ahead and take care of addition. The inverse operation for addition or adding 7 is going to be subtracting 7. So if we go ahead and subtract 7 from both sides here, notice what's going to happen. We're going to have this 3x and it's going to be plus 0. Not going to go ahead and write that using the identity property of addition. Anything plus 0 is going to be the same. 31 minus 7 is going to be 24. All right, so that takes care of one of the operations. Now we have a one-step equation. The inverse of multiplying x by 3 is going to be dividing this by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is going to be 1x, which is also known as just x. We don't have to write the 1 as the coefficient by the identity property of multiplication. Then 24 divided by 3 is going to be 8. So x equals 8 would be the solution for this equation. And you can plug it in to check to make sure it works as well if you would like to. All right, here is number 2. For number 2, we have 7y plus 5 is equal to 33. All right, so here's that original equation. Let's go ahead and do the inverse of adding 5, which is going to be subtracting 5. So 5 minus 5 on the left side of the equation is going to be 0. So we're going to say 7y plus 0, or just 7y equals. And on the right side, 33 minus 5 is going to be 28. Now we have a one-step equation, so we want to find y, or get the coefficient for y to be 1, and right now it's 7, so we can go ahead and divide both sides by 7 here. 7 divided by 7 is 1, so we have 1y, or just y. And on the right side, 28 divided by 7 is going to be 4. So y equals 4 would be the solution to this equation. For number 3, 42 is equal to 2x minus 14. So in this particular problem, we have x on the right side of the equation, which is perfectly fine. Again, what's the inverse of the addition or subtraction? In this case, we have minus 14. The inverse of subtracting 14 is going to be adding 14. That way we're going to get 0 on the right side of the equation. So we go ahead and add 42 plus 14 on the left side is going to be 56. And on the right side of the equation, the minus 14 plus 14 equals 0. So we're just left with 2x on the right side of the equation. Now again, we would like to get the coefficient of x to be 1, and we can get that by just dividing both sides by 2 here. All right, so 56 divided by 2 is going to be 28, and on the right side, 2x divided by 2 is just going to be 1x, or we can just write x. Now, I in general just like writing my variable on the left side for my solution, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn this around. For a fourth example, we have 37 is equal to 4y minus 11. So here's our original equation just rewritten, and let's go ahead and take care of the addition or subtraction. In this case, it looks like we have minus 11, so let's go ahead and add 11 to get 0. In each of these cases, we've been trying to get 0 first, then 1 for the coefficient second. So on the left side, 37 plus 11 is going to be 48 on the left side. And on the right side here, we have 4y, right? That minus 11 and plus 11 becomes 0. Next, we want the coefficient for y to be 1, so let's go ahead and divide this right side by 4. Then let's go ahead and divide the left side by 4 as well. So 48 divided by 4 is going to be 12. And on the right side, 4y divided by 4 is going to be 1y, or just y. Again, I'm going to turn this around just because I like my variable on the left side. So we know in this case, y would be equal to 12. Here's number 5. For a fifth example, we have negative 5x minus 8 is equal to 37. So for our first step, let's go ahead and take care of this minus 8. We can go ahead and get rid of that or move it to the right side of the equation by adding 8 to both sides of the equation. If we do that, we're going to get this negative 5x on the left side, and then on the right side, we're going to have 37 plus 8, which is going to be positive 45. Now we have a one-step equation. We want the coefficient for x to be a positive 1. We should go ahead and divide both sides of this equation by negative 5. On the left side, negative 5x divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 1x, or just x. And on the right side, 45 divided by negative 5 is going to be negative 9. So this would be our solution. In number 6, we have this negative 4 is equal to 26 minus 3x. And so for this particular equation, our x is on the right side of the equation. Let's see, we have to get rid of this positive 26 that's on the right side of the equation. We can do that by taking away 26 on the right side and taking away 26 on the left side. So if we go ahead and do that, then negative 4 minus 26 on the left side is the same thing as negative 4 plus negative 26, which is going to get us to negative 30 on the left side. On the right side, 26 minus 26 is going to be 0, so we don't have to write that. We're just left with this negative 3x on the right side of the equation. Now we would like the coefficient for x to be positive 1, so let's go ahead and take the inverse. Instead of multiplying x by negative 3, let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 3 to cancel out those negative 3's or make it equal to 1. On the left side, negative 30 divided by negative 3 is going to be positive 10. And on the right side, negative 3x divided by negative 3 is positive 1x, or just x. I'm going to go ahead and turn this around and say that x is equal to 10. All right, for number 7, it looks like we have negative 15 is equal to 3x plus 12. So to start, the inverse of adding 12 is going to be subtracting 12. Let's go ahead and subtract 12 from both sides of the equation. On the left side, this negative 15 minus 12 is going to be negative 27. And on the right side, we just have this 3x. The 12 and minus 12 becomes 0. Now we'd like the coefficient for x to be 1. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by 3 here. On the left side, negative 27 divided by 3 is going to be negative 9. And on the right side, 3x divided by 3 is going to be 1x, or just x. We can say that x is equal to negative 9. Okay. Moving on to number 8, we have 21 is equal to 8x plus 37. So what we're going to do first is the inverse of adding 37 is going to be subtracting 37. So let's go ahead and subtract 37 from both sides here. If we go ahead and do that, then 21 minus 37 on the left side is going to be negative 16. And on the right side of the equation, we're just going to be left with 8x here. 8x plus 0, but we don't have to write that. Next, let's go ahead and get the coefficient of x to be 1. And we can do that by dividing both sides by 8 here. On the left side, negative 16 divided by 8 is going to be negative 2. And on the right side, 8x divided by 8 is going to be 1x, or just x. We can say that x is equal to negative 2 for this problem. Here's number 9. In number 9, we have y divided by 3 minus 4 is equal to 2. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and take care of the subtraction. So instead of this minus 4, we can go ahead and get rid of it by adding 4. So let's go ahead and do that on both sides of the equation. That way we are isolating y. And so if we do that on the left side, we're just going to have y over 3, and the minus 4 plus 4 becomes 0. And on the right side, 2 plus 4 is going to equal 6. So right now we have y divided by 3, and so the inverse of dividing by 3 is going to be multiplying by 3. So on the left side, I'm going to multiply it by 3 over 1. On the right side, I'm just going to write times 3, because it's the same thing. On the left side, if we go to multiply, 3 over 3 is going to cancel out to just be 1, or 1y. So we just write y is equal to, and on the right side, 6 times 3 is going to be 18. So y equals 18 would be our solution. For number 10, we have 3 is equal to x divided by 2 plus 11. All right, so if we take this original equation, the inverse of adding 11 is going to be subtracting 11. So let's go ahead and do that first. Again, we're trying to get x alone here, so we want to get rid of that plus 11. On the left side, 3 minus this 11 is going to be negative 8. So we're going to have negative 8 is equal to, and the right side, we just have x divided by 2 now. All right, so if we're trying to find out what x is, we need to get rid of this divided by 2. So the inverse of dividing by 2 is going to be multiplying the right side by 2. And if we do that on the right side, we should go ahead and do that on the left side as well. So 2 times this negative 8 is going to be negative 16. And on the right side, these 2's are going to go ahead and cross cancel, where 2 over 2 is just 1, or 1x. We're just going to go ahead and write x. And then finally, I'll just turn this around and say x is equal to negative 16. In number 11, we have negative 14 is equal to 9 plus y divided by 3. So if we go ahead and take a look at this equation, notice how our y is on the right side of the equation. So we need to get rid of the 9 and the 3. Now to get rid of this 9 or move it over, let's go ahead and take away 9 from both sides of the equation. If we go ahead and do that, then negative 14 minus 9 is going to be negative 23 on the left side of the equation. On the right side, 9 minus 9 is going to be 0, which is what we were aiming to do. And we're just going to be left with this y divided by 3. Now, we want y alone. We don't want that divided by 3. So the inverse of dividing by 3 is going to be multiplying by 3. So let's go ahead and multiply the left side by 3 and the right side by 3. Now on the left side, 3 times negative 23 is going to be equal to negative 69. And on the right side of the equation, these 3's are going to cross cancel. Because 3 over 3 is just 1, or 1y, I'm just going to write y though. So our final answer here is y is equal to negative 69. For number 12, we have negative 10 is equal to negative 2 plus x divided by 3. So here we have our original equation. Let's go ahead and see how we can get x alone here. Well, first of all, I want to move this negative 2 to the other side. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and add 2 to the right side, as long as we add 2 to the left side. So on the left side here, negative 10 plus 2 is going to be negative 8. And on the right side here, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So we don't have to write that. We can just write this x divided by 3. Now, to get x alone here, we get a coefficient of 1. Let's go ahead and multiply the right side by 3, or 3 over 1. And on the left side, let's multiply this by 3 as well. So 3 times negative 8 is going to be negative 24 along the left side. And on the right side, these 3 over 3 is just going to be 1x, or just x. So we can just say here that x is going to be equal to negative 24. Here's number 13. In this example, we have negative 5 minus 3x is equal to 22. So first things first, let's go ahead and move this negative 5 to the other side by adding 5 to both sides of this equation. If we go ahead and do that, this negative 5 plus 5 is going to be 0, so we're left with negative 3x along the left side. On the right side, 22 plus 5 is going to be a positive 27. Now we have a one-step equation, and we want the coefficient for x to be positive 1. In order to do that, let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 3. And the reason why that makes sense is because negative 3 divided by negative 3 is just going to be 1x, or just x. So we're going to get x is equal to, and on the right side, 27 divided by negative 3 is going to be negative 9. So x would be equal to negative 9 here. In number 14, we have 14 minus 4y is equal to 62. All right, so to isolate this y, let's go ahead and take care of this 14 first. It is a positive 14, so we can go ahead and move it to the other side by subtracting 14 from both sides of the equation. On the left side, 14 minus 14 is going to be 0, so we're going to be left with this negative 4y is going to be equal to whatever 62 minus 14 is. Now 62 minus 14 should be 48, so I'm going to kind of write 48 on the right side. Now to get the coefficient for y to be equal to positive 1, let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 4. So negative 4y divided by negative 4 is just 1y, which is just y. And on the right side, 48 divided by 4 is 12, so 48 divided by negative 4 must be negative 12. So that would be our solution here. For number 15, we have this negative 23 is equal to negative 9 minus 2x. Notice how x is on the right side of this equation, so we have to get rid of that negative 9 and negative 2. Let's go ahead and take care of this constant first. Let's go ahead and add 9 to both sides of this equation. If we go ahead and do that, then negative 23 plus 9 is going to be negative 12. Let's go ahead and put that on the left side here. The negative 9 plus 9 equals 0, which is great. And we're just left with this negative 2x on the right side of the equation. Now, right now the coefficient for x is negative 2. We'd like it to be positive 1 as usual. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 2. So negative 12 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 6 along the left side. And on the right side, negative 2x divided by negative 2 is positive 1x. We just go ahead and say that x is equal to 6 after we turn this around. Negative 23 plus 9 is going to be negative 14. So we can write negative 14 is equal to, and on the right side, negative 9 plus 9 is 0, so we don't have to write that. We can just write negative 2x. Now, we want the coefficient for x to be positive 1, so let's go ahead and do the inverse of multiplying x by negative 2, which is going to be dividing it by negative 2. Now on the left side here, negative 14 divided by negative 2 is going to be a positive 7, and on the right side, negative 2x divided by negative 2 is positive 1x, so we can just say that x is equal to 7. Here's one final example. In number 16, we have negative 26 is equal to negative 20 plus y divided by 3. All right, so we want to get y alone here. First thing we're going to do is take care of this minus 20. So the inverse is going to be adding 20. Let's go ahead and do that to both sides of the equation. If we do that, then on the left side, this negative 26 plus 20 is going to be a negative 6. On the right side, negative 20 plus 20 is 0. So we're just left with y divided by 3. Now we want y to be alone here, or have a coefficient of 1, and we can go ahead and multiply both sides by 3. So if we do that on the left and right side, then 3 times negative 6 is going to be negative 18 on the left side of the equation. And on the right side of the equation, we're going to be getting 3y over 3, which these 3's would just cancel out to equal 1y, or just y. So in this particular problem, our solution is y is equal to negative 18. So there you have 16 different examples where we practice solving some two-step equations. In each case, we started by either adding or subtracting on both sides of the equation so that we would get the constant to equal 0 on the same side of the variable. And then either we multiplied or divided next to get the coefficient for the variable to always equal 1 in the end. So if you found the video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing with a classmate or friend who might also find it helpful. And as always, keep up the great work that you're already doing.